War Eagle, y'all, and welcome to Strictly Auburn's Week 3 recap podcast for Auburn's Week 3 matchup against Penn State. This week, it's just me, Jake Lazarus, for this recap pod. Eli is caught up doing some school stuff, and Connor is on another another Eagle Eye show around the plains. So we'll get that content out as soon as it is ready to post. But as for Strictly Auburn, it's for today, it's just going to be myself recapping everything that went on yesterday in Auburn's game. So I went to the game yesterday as a student. I wasn't working, just had a good time. The energy was probably the best I've ever felt at an Auburn football game, especially Auburn game day. Spent some time on the campus green at some really nice tailgates over there. Went with a group of friends into the game crazy early. We were there 2 hours and 15 minutes before kick. As soon as the gates opened, we were lined up, ready, running to our seats. I sat maybe 3 rows off the field, so we were in time to get great seats and have a great time. Pre-game, I'd be lying if I told you I didn't have chills every single time we did a chant, when the band ran out, when Independence, the Eagle, flew around the stadium. I'd be lying. I was amped up, ready to go. I've never felt that stadium have as much energy as it did heading into a game. Maybe Iron Bowl last year had that kind of energy, but if I'm being completely honest, this game, the noise in the stadium blew that out of the water this go around. So it was fun. It was crazy fun to have that kind of energy and adrenaline heading into the game. But as soon as the game got going, I mean, that energy just kind of died quite a bit. Auburn opened the game with a field goal, they started the game on defense and got a huge 4th down stop at around the 50-yard line. Sean Clifford tried to roll out to his right and got blasted by Tigers linebacker Alan Papo. Ball was loose, but Penn State recovered and then got a huge 4th and 1 stop. Ball was about 2 inches short, and Auburn turned the Nittany Lions over on downs. They had great field position and could not convert to a score, had to settle for a field goal. And all was well for the Tigers. Nittany Lions scored, Auburn got another stop. Penn State scored another touchdown in the first quarter. Auburn, just another field goal in the second. Penn State with another touchdown. Turnovers. TJ Finley had a turnover. TJ Finley started the game for the Tigers and did not finish the game. TJ was 11 for 19 in his passing attempts, completing about 58% of his passes, threw for 152 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception, which is it's really tough. I'm pretty sure he fumbled too, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. He did not play great. He didn't look amazing by any stretch of the imagination. Honestly, probably downgraded from wherever we thought he was, because yesterday was not it for him. He did not look good. Couldn't really move he moved all right in the pocket, but our offensive line couldn't block a defender for the life of him. I mean, it felt like we were watching revolving doors. It felt like we were watching like Buddy the Elf run around revolving doors in the Elf movie. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was watching this offensive line. And the worst part is how hyped up we felt about this offensive line heading into the year. I think we all felt that this O-line was going to be really good, one of the better lines in the SEC, because of their experience. I mean, they're an older group who we thought was going to be well prepared heading into the season, like excited to block for one of the best backs in college football, Tank Bigsby, a quarterback who is his work ethic and his leadership skills have been praised, but they didn't look prepared. They didn't look like they wanted to be there at all. That was a pain to watch. And then TJ Finley, just the body language wasn't one of a quarterback of any confidence. Kind of just walked all over the field. No energy outside of obviously the couple nice plays he had. There was just such a lack of energy when he was on the sideline. Just felt like he was like lollygagging around. And yeah, there's not much positive I have to say about TJ's game. I mean, you could argue he moved well in the pocket, which was, I guess, nice to see, but threw another interception, which sucks. And then, I think about the third quarter, once the game was kind of already out of hand, Harsin turned to Robbie Ashford for, I think, all of the I think there were about 9-ish minutes left in the third quarter when Robbie came in, and all of the fourth. Robbie was 10 for 19 in his attempts, 144 yards, a touchdown and an interception. The touchdown coming in garbage time and was to Jarquez Hunter. But Robbie looked, I mean, in my opinion, looked way better than TJ. He was able to evade some more pressure and get out of the sticky situations that TJ would either make mistakes or take sacks. I'm confident that Robbie has potential to be a really good college quarterback, but he's going to need the keys to the offense in order to do that. I truly feel that he has the kind of ability to take over a game and win a game because he can run. Man, that kid is so fast. He's got blazing speed for a quarterback. He will make defenders miss and then burn you in open field and make guys miss. So he's more fun to watch, but again, he's only a freshman, so hopefully he'll get some time the rest of this season and especially next. And then behind him, I was surprised we didn't see any Zach Calzada yesterday. We haven't really heard much about Zach Calzada since he transferred from Texas A&M to Auburn. However, we heard when he first transferred he was going to be able to compete for the starting job. Heard he didn't have a great fall camp, so fell to third on the depth chart. But in a game like yesterday, a blowout loss, I really did think we were going to see Zach Calzada get some time. But clearly not. I was false hope. So maybe we'll see some Zach Calzada as the season goes on. If not, I'd love to see a lot more of Robbie Ashford. Wouldn't shock me to see Ashford starting for the Tigers next week or at some point in the season, if not next week. I think that would get a lot of students energized, at least for the next few weeks, at least for next week. Start with next week. Because by the third quarter of yesterday's game, there was no energy in that stadium. It was as dead as I've ever seen that stadium in a big game. I mean, the band was making noise. That was about it. Penn State really shut us up, and they had a lot of their own fans there who, kudos to them, they showed up ready to go. They showed up, traveled all the way to Auburn, and really, they were loud, caused some mistakes and intimidation in Jordan-Hare for sure, and that was, you could feel that. But yeah, I mean, it felt like Auburn's crowd in Jordan-Hare showed up and the players and Coach Harsin didn't. So that kind of sucked. I'm just pulling up some defensive stats because I know Jarquez Hunter had a touchdown, and what's it called? And Tank Bigsby didn't have a crazy game. So it's yesterday was hard. It was hard to watch as a Tigers fan. It was probably the most stressful game I've ever went through as an Auburn student, and I'm pretty sure Eli and Connor would both say the same. But it was really, really hard to watch. It just didn't feel like any of the players wanted to be playing in that game. It didn't feel like they wanted to be there. Coach Harsin, I mean, oh, here we go. I got the defensive stats. Cam Riley, and Owen Papo led our team in tackles. Eku Leota had 2 tackles for a loss. Really the only couple bright spots, DJ James, Keontae Scott, they both had some pass breakups and played well. But other than that, this defense really, I mean, in a nice way, they played like shit. They gave up 41 points in a huge game, no sacks, and they had the crowd behind them. Credit to the Jordan-Hare crowd forcing, I think there were in the first half 4 crowd-induced penalties, I think 3 false starts and an Penn State line up offsides on defense. So credit to the crowd. I mean, played a huge role when this Tigers defense couldn't get a stop. The stadium was still rocking. So that was fun to see, but couldn't force a turnover, couldn't even get a single sack. I don't know. Also, Nick Singleton played a great game for Penn State. I know we told you about him in the I'm pulling up his stats right now. But his why can't I find it? I'll get him. But we told you about him in the show this week, and yeah, Auburn just didn't have an answer for him at all. He kept breaking plays loose on plays that we all knew were run plays. It could be like 3rd and short, and he'd bust one for 15 yards, which sucks. I mean, here we go. 10 attempts for 124 yards, averaged 12 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, and a 54-yard long. That's as bad as a defense can possibly play. That is, yeah, and he had a 44-yard touchdown in there. So I don't know what to say about this defense. We thought I know we said earlier this year, if Auburn was going to be successful, it was going to be at the hands of this defense. But, I mean, the past 2 weeks, this defense has not lived up to, or I guess these 3 weeks, this Auburn defense has not lived up to what we thought they were going to be. 0 turnovers in 3 games, getting killed in the turnover battle, giving up rush yards, not getting home. Our pass rushers don't get no pass rush. And then to top it all off, I mean, I guess, you know what, we'll say both sides of the ball. Eric Kirsau, the Auburn offensive coordinator, very vanilla play calls, and Jeff Schmedding on defense, another vanilla play calling game. I know Eli mentioned that he expected a lot more intricate play calls heading into Penn State because we didn't want to open up our whole playbook in our first 2 weeks against cupcake teams. But to be completely honest, we didn't open up our playbook at all this week. We didn't see anything new. We didn't see anything we really wanted to see. In fact, I think we probably took steps backwards. I mean, We didn't see anything really crazy. We didn't force any pass rush. Didn't force a single turnover. And then lastly, I just want to touch on Brian Harsin. In his last 8 games, we have 2 wins. In Auburn's last 8 games, we have 2 wins. And our wins come against Mercer and San Jose State, one of which is an FCS school. I'm not sure if we're all watching the same Auburn Tigers team, but I, for one, I would love to see Harsin get let go. I know there's a crazy buyout right now. If he were to get fired tomorrow, which again he won't, but there's an $18 million buyout on his name. So even Auburn's donors won't do that. So I'm looking up if there's what the buyout options would be at certain times. And again, I'm not sure if I can find this. So let's see. So if he was fired from November 27th to December 31st, his buyout would be between $15 and $15.3 million, an amount that is guaranteed by his contract. So this is according to the Montgomery Advertiser. I'm just going to read the first little bit of this because I think it sums it up pretty well. Harsin and Auburn agreed to a 6-year deal worth a total of $31.5 million, which went into effect December 23rd, 2020. According to the terms, firing Harsin without cause means the university would owe him 70% of the remainder of his contract. Harsin made $5 million in his first year, a salary that was set to increase by $100,000 annually beginning January 1st of 2022. He would be owed 50% of the buyout within 30 days. The other half is to be paid in 4 annual equal increments. Oh, and it gets better. The buyout cannot be offset by taking a job at another school, meaning Harsin would get every penny owed, regardless of him taking employment elsewhere. Fantastic. That's from an article by Bennett Durando at the Montgomery Advertiser. So, I mean, in football terms, if money wasn't a factor, Harsin should be gone. He should have been gone yesterday. He shouldn't have made it to the post-game press conference. I mean, if you watched him during the game, his body language sucked. If you watched him post-game wander around the field cluelessly after he talked to James Franklin, it was brutal. It was painful to watch. He couldn't look his players in the eyes. He couldn't look a camera in the eyes. Just kind of wandered over to his family and walked into the locker room. And I don't even want to know what was said in that locker room because, quite frankly, that was an embarrassing performance. It's pretty embarrassing right now to be a fan of this football team, even though it's strictly Auburn and we're always going to talk football for you guys because we love this school and we love this program. But yeah, yesterday was really hard to watch and be a part of as a student. So hopefully this team improves the rest of the way. They're 2-1 right now with a tough schedule coming up. Next week, they are home again against Missouri. That is probably the only cupcake game they have in the SEC. Actually, I can't even call that a cupcake game because I'm not sure how simple of a game the Tigers are going to make that. And then they have a few hard ones, including UGA, LSU, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and then all the way up until Western Kentucky, who, I mean, I want to say Auburn should kill Western Kentucky, but the way that they played these past 2 weeks, honestly, I have no idea. And then the Iron Bowl. So we'll see if the Auburn Tigers can make a bowl game, which is terrible because the reputation of this program is success, success, success. And these past 3 years have not been that, especially under Coach Harson's reign. So we'll see. I guess the questions I have going forward that I'm sure will get answered in the next 3 months. Will Harsin be Auburn's head coach at the end of the year? Will Harsin be Auburn's head coach going into 2023? And what does the rest of this season look like? I mean, we'll answer those questions in next week's episode. I'm going to ask Eli and Connor those questions, and yeah, we'll get some answers in due time. But yeah, thanks for joining Strictly Auburn's recap podcast. We're going to put these out. We're going to keep putting them out every single Sunday after an Auburn game day. We were debating, just want to get y'all's opinion, debating whether or not to put out episodes for away games too. If y'all want to see those, let us know. We're all leaning towards it. So yeah, I love putting out this content for you guys. I know Eli and Connor do too. We have a great time doing it. So it's been fun. Hopefully we improve our play and it gets even more fun. But yeah. All right. War Eagle.